Hey, I'm Marc, it's your pal Marc from the GamebustersUK team, and I've already messed up the intro, but this video is all about basically a basics guide to how to play the Black Marsh Smugglers deck, aka the Argonian themed deck in the Elder Scrolls Legends beta. Now, what I've noticed about this deck is that it focuses mainly around garnering you magicka early on. So early on in the game, you want to be playing stuff like the Hist Speaker as quick as you can. You've got 3 copies of it in the deck. What she'll do is she'll increase your max magicka by 1. And you can combo this if you're going second with the little free magicka support card that you get to build your magicka up. You can also build your magicka up by playing not just her, but also the Thorn Hist Mage. Now, the Thorn Hist Mage, he does cost 5 magicka to play anyway, but if you play your cards right and you end up with a few Hist Speakers to begin with, and also maybe a couple of Tree Minders early game, you can easily get yourself in that 6 to 7 maximum magicka area straight off the bat. And basically, once you've got your magicka, what you want to be doing is, and to protect yourself while you build up your magicka, you can play your Old Gate Warden. You can play stuff like where is he? The dude with where's the dude with lethal? One of these cards says lethal. It's not Stalwart Ally, not Tree Miner. It's the there she is, the Archean Gorilla. And then there is also quite a weak the Fighters Guild Recruit. The card begins. This is an upgrade of the card that you initially get with the deck, but again, it's the same. It has lethal, and then you upgrade it, and then it gets Prophecy Guard and lethal. So you want to play these in conjunction with your Old Gate Guard, Old Gate Warden, and your Hist Mage, your Tree Minder, and your Hist Speaker. Now, the Hist Speaker and the Tree Minder are obviously lower cost, so they're better to use early game than the Hist Mage, but what if you can gather up that 5 magicka, play the Hist Mage, because she's got quite good defense, she's got quite good endurance. And then once you've got those guys, once you're building out your magicka and defending yourself through the likes of the Fighters Guild Recruit and the Arching Gorilla, then you can start attacking with cards like North Point Lieutenant. The Preserver of the Root is an excellent card to get because you can get your stuff to 7 magicka through the other guys, the Tree Minder and the what's her face, the Black Sap Protector. Is it Black Sap Protector? No. I keep forgetting the names because I'm still new to the game myself. But the Tree Minder and the Hist Speaker. And once you've got that magicka up, where is he? Preserver of the Root is a good card and a good one. Only 4 magicka is a decent cost for the card, and if your magicka is 7, or your max magicka is 7, so you don't actually have to have 7 magicka, but your max magicka is 7. He gets 2/2 and guard, so he becomes a 6/6 guarder, which enables you to basically survive. And what you want to do is you want to hold out. You have got some attacking options like the Annexial Invader and the North Point Lieutenant. But basically what you want to do is you want to hold out until you can get your Soul Rest Marshal out, because he'll make things cost less for you. And what you want to do is you want to hold out until you can get the big guns out, the Swamp Leviathans in the base deck that you're given, and the Charis Reaper. Now, you might look at the Charis Reaper and think, this is a good card, I want to summon him as quick as possible, but that's not always the case what you want to do is you want to maximize his effect here. Give all enemy creatures in this lane -1/-1. You want your opponent to have lots of monsters. So what you want to do is you want to build up that Magicka with the Tree Minder and his Sap Mage, and then you want to drop the Charis Reaper when the opponent's got a lot of monsters to maximize that effect. So basically, you want to build up Magicka whilst blocking the opponent from damaging you too much, and then once you've got decent Magicka, then you unleash all your strong cards. So I'm going to try and put it into action by doing a practice match, just to show you guys and give you a better idea of what sort of combos you can do with the deck. Now I'm by no means an expert, but we'll go up against a novice deck because we don't want to really get killed. So, I'll give you an idea of what I was talking about. Right, so I go second. So if you go second, it's not too bad with this deck because you want lower cost cards in your deck to begin with. So when you go second with this deck, you get the added bonus of the Elixir of Magicka, and that will help you. So right off the bat, I have got quite a decent draw here. I've got the Tree Minders. What I'm going to do is I'm going to activate this to get 2 Magicka. Then I'll play the Footpad just so I've got something to play.
The power of the East fills me.
Early game, these guys want to be your offensive meat. They want to be your offensive meat shields, basically. Cards in and around this strength. There's a few more of them. The Hellstrom Footpad, I mentioned the one that is lethal. And then next turn, we're going to kind of abuse the Elixir of Magicka again to get a Tree Minder out, which will increase our maximum Magicka. Now the opponent's doing some crazy stuff here. He's beasting up this Dwarven Spider worker, which is fine because it only has 1 attack. Attack. So I mean, I could silence him and negate everything that he's just got. So I'm going to pop the Magicka Elixir again. So you might be thinking, well, you're popping your Magicka Elixir too much, but
the waters of life.
You got to look at it this way. That's what it's there for. Because if you go first, it's a lovely mechanic because Bethesda have realised that if you go first, you have an advantage over the player going second. So they've evened out the playing field by giving the player that goes second this support card. So I've played the Tree Minder. So my max Magicka has now gone up to 3, whereas it would have been where it was 2. So then next turn it's going to be 4. So I can gain more Magicka. So I can play another Tree Minder next turn. Right. So yeah,
you won't even see me coming.
I'm going to use my Meat Shield to break down the opponent's monster. That's what this guy is there for. And then see where we go from here. So it looks like this deck is themed around the Dwemer machine. So we've got a Dwarven Spear here. Dwarven Sphere, sorry. Right, and just, this is wonderful. I was worried that I'd make this video about how to play this deck and I just wouldn't draw any of the cards. So it's kind of cool I've drawn the cards. So we've got the Archer and Gorilla. So, but in the meantime, we want to play the Tree Minder to get our Magicka up to 5. See, it's way higher than our opponents. We're 2 steps ahead of our opponent. I've been shackled, so there's not really a lot I can do. But I can
and spleen.
attack him in the Shadow Lane. Now, why do you want to play these guys in the Shadow Lane? Because you want to keep them safe, basically. Because their effects, they're not very strong. Look, they're just 1/1s, but you want to get their effects off. And yeah. Still got one of the Magicka thing in reserve, but remember, you won't have the Elixir of Magicka every game. You might be going second. I lost a rune there, so I drew the Oldgate Warden. He's a good choice, like I said, he's a good choice, but I'm going to play the Gorilla.
I will make short work of the Sap Sniffers.
Because she has lethal. Now, a lot of the cards in this deck have lethal, like the Fighters Guild Recruit has lethal as well. I've got 2 Magicka left over, so I'm going to play the Oldgate Warden. And what I was saying earlier about you want to be using the cards with guard, this guy is a really good choice early on in the game, early game, because he has regenerate as well as guard. So when your opponent hasn't got the strongest monsters out on the field like the opponent has at the moment, you want to drop him down because he'll get his health back. So at the moment,
Feed and spleen.
notice how at the moment, even though I've got the lower life advantage, I am kind of I'm holding the opponent. I'm set up. I'm just waiting for the good cards to come. Here's the Charis Reaper. We can play him next turn, but remember what I said? You want to hold off on playing him until you can maximize his effect. The good thing about this deck is you're not really too bothered about what the opponent does, because you've got cards that have lethal. So if he powers up monsters like he's doing here, I can just run into it with a card that has lethal. Now obviously I don't have, she's in the wrong lane, but that is an option that you could do. I've got another one of these. This guy, he's like,
do not test this one.
Another one of
you will lose.
Another one of our meat shields. Low endurance but high, relatively decent attack power.
Feed and spleen. Feed and spleen. This Wamasu has teeth.
You see, I destroyed his monster because I had lethal. Gonna drop down our Slaughterfish as well. Slaughterfish is a decent meat shield. I believe you get a couple of them in this deck to begin with. The base Argonian deck, and the Slaughterfish gains +2/+0 at the beginning of the turn, so he's a good choice to be a meat shield. You can trade off a 1-for-1 with an opponent's monster quite easily with the Slaughterfish. So just bear that in mind. Some cards are designed, you don't want to be too worried about losing monsters. If you can go for a straightforward 1-1, and what I mean by 1-1 is you lose your monster, but the opponent loses their monster. So we've got our third Tree Minder, which is quite cool.
The waters of life.
So we're getting more mana. Now, at the moment, the opponent's not really doing too
trouble
much.
at all.
We'll just run through this pool of cards, or at least try to.
Feed
anyway.
and spleen. This Wamasu has teeth.
Kind of want the opponent to do something. Okay, nice. Skylar. Skylar, that's what you do. The Cave Growl is a card you pick up through the storyline. You don't get it immediately. But again, he's kind of cool as a meat shield that has regenerate, so you can kind of get a few more. He has more longevity, put it that way. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and play him actually. Holding off on playing the Charis Reaper, just because it's not the most opportune time. So we'll use our Slaughterfish. No, wait.
This Wamasu has teeth.
Straight up attack. We'll
No
run
trouble
through
at all.
this monster. See, I wasn't too worried about losing that monster right there. Oh, this guy is also one that I didn't touch on. You get a couple.
Fray.
Yeah, whatever. You Rehab Battle Mage, whatever. You get a couple of these to begin with in the deck. Yeah, there we go. I just drew the other one as well. And again, like the Hist Protector, these guys, once your Magicka is 7 or more, your max Magicka is 7 or more, he gets 2/2. So it basically becomes a very easily summonable 2/2. And his effect isn't, he gains 2/2 when you summon him. It's, you can summon him, then go. Then get 7 max Magicka, and then he'll be on the board and he'll gain 2/2 that way as well. So he's quite versatile. Again, he's another one of those kind of like meat shieldy cards.
Blood on the waters.
You can use him to.
Blood on the waters.
You can use him to, basically be aggressive. So over here is probably where I'm going to drop the Charis Reaper. because it's going to damage the opponent more. So you see how I waited? I waited until the opportunity was better. He had 2 perfectly healthy monsters on the board. Now they've lost not only lost life, but they've lost toughness as well. So I'm going to use the archer and gorilla to basically,
has teeth.
even though this guy has 3 health, because she has lethal, she's going to kill him anyway. Any damage dealt by a creature that has lethal will result in instant death for the monster that it's fighting. And again, my slaughterfish, you might think, oh, don't you want to attack the opponent with your slaughterfish? Well, I want to run through his monster. So that's what the slaughterfish is there for. Again, another meat shieldy type monster. Now, suppress is an interesting one.
Wind.
Okay.
I will learn by doing.
Cool. Right, now suppress is a card that you get, and we've got a hiss speaker, so we're just going to increase our magicka even more. You see how we're 3 steps
I draw
ahead
power from these trees.
in terms of magicka. Now we're 4 steps ahead, so we've got that magicka advantage all throughout the game through tactically playing the hiss speaker and the tree minder. Suppress will remove all status effects from all stat modifiers from a creature, and I believe you do get this during the storyline during Act 2 somewhere along the lines. So we'll do that. It's a good idea. It doesn't matter what deck you're running. It's a great idea to have at least 1 copy of suppress knocking around, just so you can do stuff like that. And see, these guys with the magicka increase, I can
Mud and mayhem.
I can run through that door, no problem.
Mud and mayhem.
These guys are really good actually, because if you get the tree minders out, and the hiss speaker is lower cost than the tree minder, so bear that in mind. But you know, they only cost 2 magicka. And then I'm going to run through the 4/4 with my. No, I'm going to run through the 2/2. Because there's a chance that he might attack my Charis with this card next turn, and even if he doesn't next turn, I can still run through him with the Charis next turn, and these guys can still just keep pecking away at him from the other side. That's the importance of the lanes in the Elder Scrolls Legends. So he's a little bit salty, you know. He's chucking ice barrages at me, but I'm not too bothered. Again, this guy would have been better early on in the game, as, you know, just a sort of an aggressive card to play early on, but
The power of the hist fills
he
me.
can join the attack going on.
Mud and mayhem. Mud and mayhem.
You see, even though the opponent's got 2 monsters that could cause trouble, I've won because overall I had a better setup play and understood what I was doing better. Okay, yeah, it was only the opponent, but this video is just a quick video to show you how to play the Argonian deck. I got some soul gems, so cool. So yeah, the Black Marsh Smugglers, you want to get your magicka up pretty quickly. That should be your first order of business, whilst defending yourself with the many guard creatures in the deck. Then you want to gradually progress to being a bit more aggressive, and then you want to get out your stuff like your the Argonian henchmen that get the 2/2 off the 7 or more magicka, and then you want to play your Hiss Defender, and then your Charis Reaper for a bit of support to bring down your opponent's monsters. And then we didn't draw the Leviathans, the Swamp Leviathans, but late game, if you draw the Swamp Leviathans, you've got plenty of magicka to spare, like I had in that match. You drop down a Swamp Leviathan, boom, you've got an 8/8 on the field that can cause some havoc. So yeah, that's the Black Marsh Smugglers deck in the Elder Scrolls Legends. It's the deck that I'm liking the most so far, which is why I thought I'd do this little basics tutorial video on how to play it. at least in the early game, at least. So let me know how you enjoyed this video. Did I explain things well? What could I perhaps improve on? And if you did like the video, please give the video a like and subscribe to GameBusters UK, where you can keep up to date with exclusive free content like this. The only thing that remains to be said is thank you very much for watching, the old mucker. Take care, and bye-bye.